Hey, how's it going, fellow Trojans and loyal vassals? Today, we're going to be taking a look at Sentinel's new line of figures called 4-inch nail. Now, that's a funny word because it sounds like you're saying you got a 4-inch nail, but no, it's the number 4-inch-nail. Sentinel, if you don't know, makes some really good articulated robotic figures. It's some amazing stuff what they do with the articulation, and they decided to branch off and make new figures that are specifically aimed in the 4-inch scale. And they're starting off with the Mega Man franchise. I don't think it's going to be exclusive to the Mega Man franchise, but they are going to be making some other stuff. And it seems like they're releasing these figures, specifically the Mega Man figures, pretty soon, because they just announced this line of figures earlier this year, and we're already getting pretty much all of them by the end of the year. And it's crazy to think that I don't think I've ever seen such a fast release with figures like this, and it's kind of making me a little sad because if you don't know, D-arts, this Mega Man is from the D-arts line, or what it used to be, because then D-arts fused with SH Figuarts, and SH Figuarts did promise to make more Mega Man figures, but their last known Mega Man figure was Mega Man Zero, and that was about 2 years ago. It is 2016, and still no word on any release or any future release of any Mega Man figure, so I don't know. I guess the SH Figuarts line is dead. I don't think I've ever heard or seen anybody mention about this, because I've always been curious ever since 2014, like, well, what happened to the Mega Man line of figures that SH Figuarts promised us? And here we are, and still no word, so I'm curious if anybody knows what's going on with that line, but I think it's dead. Anyways, we have Sentinel here bringing the torch. Hopefully they can create more stuff, but unfortunately I think most of it's going to be in 4-inch, because I did see a Megaman EXE prototype, but it seems to be only in scale to 4-inch, so that does kind of suck. Anyways, before I get into that, this isn't really going to be a review. I just wanted to talk about this figure and the one minuscule thing that I absolutely do not like about this figure. It's so minor, but it's very detrimental to what they're trying to do with all this articulation that this one has. But I'll say this, if you missed out on the D-arts Megaman figure, which was released quite a few years ago, I'm not sure how much he's going for on eBay today, but if you missed out on him, this is a good substitute, especially considering how low of a price he is. I'll say this, the D-arts one does come with more stuff, but the articulation on this one is vastly superior to the D-arts one, but it does not come with as much stuff. But there are some three interesting things I noticed about this specific Mega Man figure. Starting off with the presentation, if I'm not mistaken, I actually have the right here, the official Mega Man Complete Works illustration book, and this specifically, this Mega Man, I think, is designed off of a specific illustration from this book. Hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, so this is what I think the actual Mega Man, what this figure here is based off of, because of the way the proportions are on this guy, the face and everything definitely looks like this Mega Man figure, or I mean this Mega Man illustration right here, which is based off his appearance in the complete, or no, that's not the thing. When they re-released all the Mega Man games on the PlayStation, if I'm not mistaken, with remastered or remixed music, rather. I like them both equally, but I do like the face on this one a little bit more. This one's a bit too anime-ish for my taste. This one's more cartoonish, if that makes sense, even though they're both a form of animation. But let's just take a good look at what we're working with here, because the articulation is fantastic. Like, I like the fact that I can actually have him like in a neutral pose. This one has a little bit more of a harder time because you can't actually get his arms like to his side like this. And it's just crazy good. Also, the material, you can obviously tell, is different. I'm guessing the choice of material was so you can have more like longevity in terms of how you're going to move the joints, I'm guessing. Because you can even tell, like, just by looking at them, that the plastic is different on both of them. See, this one's more shinier, this one's more of a matte finish. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So I'll skip to the last part that I don't like about this figure, but let's start off with one of the best things about this figure. Look at that ab crunch. That is an impressive ab crunch. So he's got like 2 ball joints, and the way it's sculpted, it just, see how it goes into his actual like briefs here, and like the lower part, that's just impressive. Here's the arch. Look What? Man, I can't stress this enough, but the articulation is just vastly superior to the D-arts one. I mean, the D-arts one can at least, he can definitely pull off the iconic Mega Man poses, but this guy goes up and beyond. And he has like this cut at the shoulder, like sideways cut, so he can allow him to have somewhat more of a movement. Look at that. So you can actually have his arm across his chest. Look at that. That is ridiculously impressive. He's got a single jointed elbow right here, cut at the bicep. Obviously, with this much articulation, I don't know if you can obviously already tell, it does ruin the aesthetic and the overall design of the Mega Man figure, having all these joints very much visible. So I don't know, that's just something maybe you might want to think of. Because this one, obviously, it's not as bad, but it's, I don't know. Like, at least I like the fact that on this one, you can actually see that on his elbows and his knee joints, they're actually sculpted in a way that he actually has material. See, it kind of has like ridges right there. But this one doesn't have any of that. Not a big deal, but I just wanted to point that out. So he's got that. Look how far he can move his shoulders up. Impressive stuff. Like, overall, this whole thing going on the torso, arms, shoulders is impressive stuff. I love that stuff. At the waist, he's got these ball joints, and surprisingly, despite being so small of a ball joint, look how small that is. Very tiny. They're not loose, so that's pretty impressive. I thought for sure they'd be loose. Look at this. Look how, that is ridiculously impressive. I probably said impressive way too many times, but it really is. Look at that. And it also has a cut right there right here at the bicep, so you can actually move this part side to side at an angle to get you a little bit more range of motion for different poses. He's got a double jointed knee, and it is a double jointed knee. It's got like this weird looking design at the back, but that's so you can actually get him like that. Then he's got a double ball jointed at the ankle, and I don't think it's not exactly the same as the D-arts one, but it does the job just as good. Like, I prefer the D-arts one on the ankle, but this is pretty good. So now to the one thing that I absolutely do not like about this figure, and that is the head articulation. Okay, so I personally think this is a gimmick. So if I can just show you, if I remove his face right here, what's underneath going on here. So this is what he's working with. He's got this weird hinge-like mechanic. So this part right here is actually pegged into his neck, into the body at a sideways angle like this, like that. And because of that, he can't really tilt his head like he is. I mean, you see what I'm saying? So all I want to do is tilt his head right, but it is at an angle. See that? His head is it's tilted at an angle. Unlike this one, where all I want, see that? That's all I want to do. All I want to do is tilt his head left and right for certain poses and angles. And as you can see, I can't do that with this figure because the peg at the head is at an angle. So that's what you're gonna get. See that? The difference right there? I want this, not this. And that is such a big deal because when I want to try and get him in certain like shooting poses, it's just so difficult. It also doesn't help that he doesn't have much of a head tilt like this, because this piece is pegged into that bluish piece right there, which is actually being held by these two ear pieces. That's what's causing him to make him look down and up and whatnot. So you can kind of see it right there. And my only guess as the reasoning behind this kind of design like this was because in some of the earlier shots in the Mega Man illustration, it has him doing poses that makes him look like he's hunched over. Let me see if I can show you real quick in the illustration art book. As you can see, I'm pretty sure what they were going for with the head articulation is to make him represent or look like he's doing this kind of pose, because you can definitely see that it kind of looks like he's hunched over his body. The same can be said in this angle, and over here doing his iconic sliding pose. Even more examples clearly where he kind of looks like his head is hunched over his body. So that is personally my own conclusion is why they decided to have that kind of articulation, to make it look more in line to what he's doing in these poses, is my guess. I don't like it, but I can respect it. And it is, like I said, it's just so frustrating when I want to get him. All I want to do all I want to do is get you looking left and right perfectly without having your head tilted like that. See, I just want this. I don't want this. I don't know. It's such a major thing for me personally. I had like a frustrating time doing taking some shots. Aside from that, I have really no other problems with this figure. Yeah, I just wish he had some sort of actual left and right movement. Also, somewhat of a head tilt, because I tried getting him to do this pose on the book, this pose, but I can't really get his head to look like this, sort of. Or I mean, because he's looking that way, so I want to get his eyes looking in that direction, but I can't because it goes at an angle, and it's just, I don't know. I just don't like it. For accessories, real quick. It's okay, so this is pretty much all he's coming with. One buster, which you can actually move this. It's actually, you can put this on either left or right arm. You can actually move this. His actual the display piece for the solar energy. You can actually move it left or right, depending on what arm you have it. So that's pretty cool. This angry face, and these two hands. Something also that I noticed about these specific hands, if I can show you real quick in the illustration art book. So it definitely seems that this is what the hands are actually based off of, where he has the exact same looking hands here, and here, not only there, but Cutman also has it, even Iceman. And it's not just in Mega Man 1, yeah, the hands continue on into Mega Man 2 here, you can see it right here. See it over here in Metal Man, you can see the hand right here again, and here, and over here. So yeah, I think that's actually a very nice attention to detail that they included these hands, so that's pretty cool. As for D-arts Megaman, drop the hand. He comes with these hands, and they're not as accurate as the original ones. But he does come with one more extra head, which is a yelling head. And I actually would, well, no, I'm actually fine with what he comes with is fine because I love the articulation and presentation on that one. But I still would have liked it a third head, like this one. And he came with these two busters that, unlike this Mega Man figure, he can't really move his solar energy beam left and right, so you kind of have to swap out these busters, which are supposed to be for either or hand. Or I mean, I think this one is right hand, either or. It's just, you know, I think this is the left hand. Either way, he also came with these blast effects parts, which, believe it or not, actually works with this. It doesn't really, but you kind of have to make it work. Like if I were to do this, see if I can show you real quick, or maybe not. Yeah, there you go. If you have it like this, you can actually use these effects from the D-arts Megaman for this Mega Man. It doesn't stay on perfectly, see, it kind of like, you just kind of have to, hopefully it sticks on. It's like for one shots, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, also I guess a minor thing I should want to mention is that this is the stand he came with. Now this is actually a standard stand for most Sentinel figures, and I kind of wish it was more designed for these 4-inch figures, because these clamps don't perfectly, like, they're a bit too big in my opinion. Like, I mean, they look fine like that when you have them standing still, but when you're trying to do like dynamic poses, these things don't really clamp well around him, and he's kind of like, see, he's moving around, but that's because he's stationary. If I were to have him in certain like dynamic poses, this stand isn't really going to do it, or at least the clamps aren't really going to do it. I kind of wish the clamps were actually more molded to fit his tiny waist, because this isn't really doing it for me. Hopefully I can find a substitute in some other form of stand. But other than that, I really like this Mega Man figure. Aside from that neck articulation, that really bothers me so much. It's like, you have everything going for you. You got all this fancy articulation, way better than the D-arts one. It's impressive stuff, but then you come at the head, and that one minor thing throws it off, throws everything off, and it just almost makes me wanna, I don't know, it bothers me that he has everything going for him, but that one minor thing. But that is all on this Mega Man figure. I want to go over in the next video the D-arts Mega Man figure, because, oh wait, Sentinel's 4-inch Battle Network Megaman.exe figure, because this guy I have fond memories of. I remember playing all the games, Battle Network 1 through 6, nostalgia overload. But anyways, let's get some fancy poses real quick, because I got him into some decent looking poses in a slideshow.